It is Super Saturday, dubbed because of all the excellent racing we have got across 3 Group 1 tracks this weekend. We're racing at Newmarket, at York and at Ascot. It is fantastic fair. I've got to mention, like, subscribe to this channel, and we will let you know when a new episode is alive, because weeks like this don't come around very often. It is very, very special. Some say too congested, too busy. But for an armchair fan, it is absolutely fantastic. We've got Jason Weaver and Frankie alongside me, as always. Jason, Super Saturday, it lives up to its name, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and you can be selective, can't you? You know, everybody likes to have a little look at an accumulator that are dotted around at different tracks. You can find your favourite riders. There's lots of trainers who've been struggling to secure the services of certain riders up and down the country. And, of course, we have the July Cup. And that's one of the races. If you're in control, you're not going fast enough.
Yes, there is that. And incredible as well. We had horses supplemented by Godolphin earlier on the week, even though they had the favourite. It's a brilliant renewal, Frankie. We've got stayers. We've got sprinters in the July Cup. Everyone is catered for. 12 brilliant races in front of the ITV cameras. Am I selling it?
You're selling it, Matt. Before that, we got a little bit of Ibiza Classics at Chester as well. On a Friday night.
Big box, little box, cardboard box. Big fish, little fish, cardboard box.
These weekends are brilliant. Because if you're at home, you get the benefit of seeing everything and hearing everything, all the interviews, and you can watch the races from all the tracks. And if you go to one of them on a weekend like this, when the weather's good, the July course particularly, I really enjoy. I think they do it great there. So, I'm looking forward to this weekend.
Yeah, if you watch this on Friday night, me and Frankie were having our whistles and our glow sticks on the Rudy. If you're watching it on Saturday morning,
no one wants to see that.
Yeah, no idea where we are Saturday morning. That is for sure. Yes, challenging our inner Ibiza days. Right, let's look at then 12 brilliant races. We'll start with you, Jace, at HQ. That's where you're going to be for the ITV cameras. We start with the Maiden, and not a lot of form to go on. These kind of races kind of focus on the boys in blue, don't we?
And we're looking at the best of the division, aren't we? You know, last year, Desert Flower won this particular contest. William Buick, who joined the 2000 club, he's jumped on board Snow Light. We got no idea. We're going on pedigrees. I'm a little bit of a haggis groupie. You know that anyway. And he's got Fan Me in there as a filly by Two Down Hot out of a mare, Wonderstruck, who was a half-sister to none other than George Washington. So, you know, as a tentative selection, I'll be having a little look at Fan Me, who goes for the Haggis team. I just like that pedigree.
Could be well named this weekend, Frankie. Fan Me. I think you might need a few fans. Not your type of fans.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have loads to go off, do we? But I'm sure, or you'd like to think that a nice filly will come out of this. As you said, Matt, sticking with the boys in blue for these 3 days usually pays. It certainly did last year. They do really well at this July festival, don't they? So Snow Light will get plenty of her backers. Orion's Bout, they obviously must think a fair bit of her. She was well backed on her debut, although beaten. I think she went off 4-5, and she's got the services of Ryan Moore this time round. She's by a July Cup winner, Starman. So there's a fair few pointers there, but she was disappointing on her first start, and the form really hasn't, or doesn't say a whole lot. So yeah, for me, if I was going to have a bet, I'd probably just go with William Buick's choice of Snow Light. They usually win these sort of races.
Yep, fresh from a treble on Thursday as well. The boys in blue when William Buick joined the 2000 club, as Jason just alluded to. Right, let's move on then to the 212. Fillies are in action here over the straight 7 furlongs. Jason, some of these coming from Royal Ascot. Misinformation was a winner there. Miss Nightfall was a costly gamble.
Yeah, I mean, Misinformation, Kensington Palace. I thought that was a big performance. She's gone actually this year, isn't she? Nothing win, nothing win. But doing it at the right time, I suppose, at the Royal Meeting. Renine was a big disappointment last time. And I think that when you mention Miss Nightfall, does she fall into that bracket of continuously being unlucky? Or are we going to give Safi Osborne a roll of the dice? It wasn't her last time. She rode her, flew from the back of the pack. Oshin was on board. All seemed to go wrong, staying on late in the day. Safi doesn't make too many mistakes. So I think that with her back on board, she's definitely got to be a player. Miss Nightfall.
There we are then. Frankie, Jason thinks compensation awaits for that big gamble that went astray at the Royal Meeting.
Yeah, she had a lot to do, didn't she? I think she was almost last place with a couple to go. and flew home. So certainly an unlucky loser at the Royal Meeting. I do see it as a bit of a clash of the misses at the top, the first and second from different races at the Royal Meeting. Just wonder, maybe that just sort of extra staying power of misinformation, sorry, not Miss Nightfall, might just sort of tough it out up that incline finish. Just wonder if she might just be slightly better, albeit there's a bit more wiggle room in the favourites mark. But I'd be willing to stick with misinformation here, and hopefully she can back it up, because Jace makes a good point. That win, miss sometimes does run a true trend, doesn't it? But I'm going to stick with misinformation rather than Miss Nightfall.
Not the first time you got mixed up between two misses, I am sure. Right, let's look ahead to the big betting race.
Listening to this podcast, I'd be in trouble.
Let's move on to one of the big betting races then. It is the Bunbury Cup. Only a field of 13, Jason, but obviously a lot made around More Thunder, who was obviously one of the biggest eye catchers of the entire season at the Royal Meeting.
I can't remember when this race hasn't managed to fill, but everybody's run scared, haven't they? You know, this is a heritage handicap. You're normally 20 runners stretched right across the track. We've ended up with 13 if they all go. They've all decided to swerve More Thunder, haven't they? Very rare does Tom Marquand make a mistake. Got his whip caught in his reins, just cost him momentum at a vital stage at the Royal Meeting. And I think that he was asked on the way back in how he felt. Disgusting was the way that he described how he felt walking back in. So it just didn't happen for him. Surely, stepping up to 7 furlongs, this is one of those. They're going to have to build a net at the end of the straight there at the July course, aren't they, to slow him down?
and for all the punters' money flowing in.
One of the biggest handicaps of the season. Jason said it's a point and shoot, Frankie.
Yeah, it's hard to take him on, isn't he? I think from that race at Ascot, where Tom, as Jay said, felt disgusted. I think the first, third and fourth were all on the front end, and More Thunder was given a hell of a lot to do, and things went wrong and still almost managed to win. He just ran out of track, didn't he? So, yeah, looks your likely winner. If I was to try and find an each-way player, maybe Run Boy Run. He's, I think, second, first from 4 starts at the track. Has been running reasonably well in defeat. I'd expect him to run a decent race at an each-way price. But, yeah, the favourite should probably go and win.
Probably should. More Thunder then for the boys unanimous in the Bunbury Cup. We move on to the 325. We've got a mile handicap. Only 7 go here, Jason. But could this one be going back to Godolphin? They've got 3 very strong candidates.
Yeah, they have. 5th Column, thought that was a pretty big run from him. He was up behind Arabian Story. Obviously, there's intertwining form in here. We're getting a lot of that now, aren't we? Horses coming out of the Royal Meeting and going back on each other. Ra Fed, 370,000 as a yearling. Jumped back on the Haggis bandwagon, haven't I? Look, I think, as we mentioned, with the Bunbury Cup going his way, it was a easy victory at Newbury. 2 lengths, not extended. I'm sure Tom would have said, I'd love another go at that. It never really happened for him at the Royal Meeting. He was checked in a bit of a pocket, and I'm sort of hoping that he can take another step forward, if you like. And back in the 3-year-old division, I think is going to suit him.
Okay, could be a good day for William Haggis then on the July course, according to Jason Weaver. Frankie, what wins this one?
I agree, for the same reasons. And I'm just happy to follow the cash, to be honest. He was backed into favourite for the Britannia. Didn't go his way. They obviously think enough of him, cost a lot, won his start before that. And this might be his chance to put some royal wrongs right. He's been well supported again. So, yeah, I'd say he's definitely ahead of his mark anyway. Let's find out if he's good enough to win.
Okay, then not with the boys in blue. Both unanimous for Arfed in that mile handicap. Then we've got the juveniles for the Superlative Stakes. And there's been a lot of talk about Italy here for Iron Moore and Aidan O'Brien. Jason, is he the one to beat?
Well, the horse that he managed to beat came over and ran a blinder, didn't he, in the Chesham? We got Venetian Lace, who was 4th in the Chesham. You've got Saba Desert. The reason he's the only alternative, it's going to be a straightforward match, isn't it, between those two? Saba Desert is the only alternative. When he won at Sandown, it was nothing of a race. There went no pace, and he quickened up and he won. Trainers are creatures of habit. Who did he win it with previously, the race at Sandown? Native Trail. native trail, came straight from Sandown on here to win the Superlative. He's following that sort of path, but he's going to have to be good. The only reason I'm really shying away from Italy is going to end up being something stupid like 8-13 or tighter.
Okay, yeah, so taking a bit of value then, maybe looking at Saba Desert, just winning Buick on him, and not Wild Desert. He was being a long odds on at Newmarket during Royal Ascot. Frankie, what do you think?
Kind of the same thoughts, to be honest. Would you be willing to back Italy at whatever silly short price he goes off at, when we know Charlie Appleby sends good horses here? We know how well he does at this meeting, and you can't really take a whole lot of a strong opinion on the ceiling of Saba Desert from his first start, because it was a complete hands and heels ride, and William Buick just nudged him out to go and win. So you don't know what sort. I mean, they're all youngsters. You don't know the ceiling on any of them, but I don't think you could use that as a sort of form guide anyhow. So it's a bit of a non-bet, really. If you're looking at 4s, 9-2, something like that, there's no harm in backing an each way to nothing bet on the second favourite Saba Desert, is there? You'd be surprised to see him out the 3.
Okay, yeah, we're looking like Italy. It looks then the one in the Superlative odds on, maybe Saba Desert, giving you a little bit of a value alternative. Right, let's look at the big one then. It is the July Cup, the battle of the Group 1 sprinters, and a brilliant field as well. Interesting that Godolphin, I spoke to you earlier on in the week, Jason, about Godolphin supplementing both Notable Speech and Spy Chief, despite having Symbol of Honour towards the forefront of the market. Aidan O'Brien, obviously, he's got Whistle Jacket in there and Ides of March. Coolmore have also got Believing. Wathnan have got 3 in it. Inner Sherrin has been obviously favoured for some of these big races. I mean, this is a sprint that's got everything, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's got a bit of everything. And it's going to need whoever wins, because we haven't got a superstar in the division, it's going to be who gets the best run through, isn't it? I think, the only one who you think is still going forward is probably Spy Chief, and whether he's good enough. And then you got Whistle Jacket down the bottom. He managed to win his only try on the July meeting. Was on good to soft ground. He's going to be on rattling quick conditions, and he sort of flashed home from the back of the pack in the Commonwealth Cup. Watch it back if you have an opportunity. Taken out of it at the gates, checked all the way through, and never really fully extended. But myself, I'm a big fan of Believing. When she was getting beaten last year by Bradsell was always drawn in the ideal spot, and she was out in the car park on one wing or the other, and it hasn't happened for her. I'll give her a little bit of a pass on the appalling run at the Royal Meeting. They tried to make the run in. Bowie's in good form. Billy Loughnane, Billy the Kid, can he say welcome to the Group 1 army? Rashabar, his biggest success so far. Last year in the Coventry, it's his big test, Billy. Welcome to the pressure cooker.
Okay, then the price could go to Coolmore, but not one of Aidan O'Brien's, with Believing, who they recently acquired for the paddocks. Frankie, where are you going for this brilliant Group 1 July Cup?
How old's Billy now? Is he 20, is he?
If that, I'd say.
20. It's a good feat to get on the Group 1 board before you hit 20, isn't it? If possible. Can't be done too often. Yeah, I think he's got a big chance on Believing. But I'd probably be more swayed towards who you started to mention first, though, Jace. Whistle Jacket, just the way that he did manage to win at the course beforehand. He really sort of burst onto the scene then, didn't he? And I think it would be fair to say after that performance maybe has been slightly disappointing. He carried a lot of hype after that performance. Hasn't quite gone his way in some of the races, but he's ran some big enough races, mixed in with Babouche, and he's won a couple of group races, I think, over at the Cur, and was unlucky at Ascot. So I like his chances. It is a fascinating race, isn't it? Notable Speech is a fascinating contender. He's obviously top on ratings. Will he deal with the sort of pace they go, and will he be in his comfort zone travelling? I don't really know. Flora of Bermuda, the best of the British in the Queen Elizabeth II, and a couple like Whistle Jacket who ran in the Commonwealth Cup. I think Whistle Jacket's my shout. What I found interesting is that Godolphin have supplemented 2 extra on top of some Symbol of Honour. And when Charlie Appleby was asked about Notable Speech's chances and Symbol of Honour, he kind of shrugged Symbol of Honour off by saying, well, you know what you're getting. He's a bit tough, and, he sort of grinds it out. And as he's saying it, I'm thinking, don't you sort of want that to win one of these races? So who knows? They obviously want to pile in as many chances as they can. Whistle Jacket comes out on top for me.
Okay, interesting. He's just turned 19 in March. So they are. It would be.
Yeah,
can't be many younger Group 1 winning jockeys.
Also, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, hey, who are the sort of youngest to do it? I don't know, but yeah,
he's gunning at the moment because I chatted to him the other day at Yarmouth. He's closing in on a century for the season. He said he's a little bit behind schedule, but he's already got his target set this year. He wants to get 200 winners for the current campaign. So that's so at least he's up for it. He still wants to improve and he's going forward. And we need that, don't we? We need someone to take the mantle going forward.
Yeah, no, he's got a good bit of confidence about him, hasn't he? Not in an arrogant way either. Just he's confident in his own abilities. Like when he gets the big chances, he's excited for them, isn't he? More than anything.
Big opportunity on Saturday, the July Cup. Then Jason quite thinks believing, and Billy Lane could be the one. Let's move north up to the Naves Mire then. 4 races at York to look forward to. Start with a mile handicap at 2 o'clock, and we've got plenty of old favourites in here, Jason, who always have plenty of chances.
Yeah. I mean, where do you start in here? I thought Bo Pedro was a good place to start. What a massive performance from him behind My Cloud in the Hunt Cup. Georgino Rutter, obviously the striker, the owner, but Danny Tubhope has gone for Blue for You. Blue for You was himself a bit of an eye catcher. And with the stable rider latching on to him, he makes you sit up and take notice. I looked at Old Cock. He was all out, wasn't he, to win last time? I don't think that he sort of holding anything back from the assessor, if you like. And for me, Ramouz down the bottom. Big run from him, I thought, in the jersey. At this current time, over a mile, the weight for age is £9 weight for age at the moment. That's an awful lot to give a classy runner like him, isn't it? Kevin Stott, desperate to get the winners on the board as well. He'll be gunning for the big race success. I think Ramouz, if he relaxes, he's a big player.
Unexposed 3-year-old getting £9 weight for age, Frankie. You with the unexposed 3-year-old or one of the older heads?
One of the older ones, the oldest, in fact, Bo Pedro, who Jace mentioned first. He ran a huge race, didn't he, last time out? Paul Moranen will ride. We know how good he is. Well, he's how good he is anywhere, but especially at these northern tracks like York. David Amara obviously has 2, but they'll both be here with chances. He pops up all the time in these sorts of handicaps at York. He's not getting any younger, but he retains his ability. I think he'll run a big race. So it's a very fair price. He kind of always is, isn't he? He's always knocking around that sort of 6-7 to 1 mark and in with a squeak, and maybe can get his nose in front. I think it's a fair bet.
Yeah, but Pedro certainly caught the eye, running a cracker at the Royal Meeting. Right, we move on to the 5 furlong sprint, the City Wall Stakes. I'll start with you this time, Frankie. Hopefully the dead 8 do go to post here. Give us 3 places each way.
Yeah, maybe I wouldn't say I'm talking out my pocket. I'm trying to reimburse my pocket with Washington Heights. I've been backing him for most of the season and it hasn't paid off for me yet. But this looks a little bit easier, doesn't it? I mean, he's running big races at York. He's running Group 1s at York and not been disgraced. Ever since his little trip and second over in the Middle East in February, I've backed him on his last 3 starts. So, yeah, and he hasn't been miles away. You know, he was a length third at Haydock in the Group 2, and he was only 2.5 lengths behind American Affair in the sprint at Ascot. So now into what is a listed race, although a very competitive listed race. I'd like to think this might be more suited to his level. So Washington Heights.
Well, you've been falling over a cliff, Jason. Storm Memas.
Well, the thing is, Washington Heights is an absolute pinger, isn't he? Right? He's going to be up on the front end, or try to be anyway. Shane Gray on board. Apollo 1's going to be breathing down his neck. JM Jungle is not that far away. Please, Star of Memas, finally step forward, will you? I mean, what? So she's been having an absolute howler, hasn't she, of late? You know, Ryan Moore has said on a couple of occasions should have won. Now, if she goes forward, or she can go forward, I think she's blessed with a wonderful change of gear, given the ideal setup. Again, it's the youngster against the elders. We're up in listed company, so it's a different sort of setup, if you like, regarding the weight for age. But she has a little bit to find on official ratings. Every reason to expect that she's going to get a toe in. Apollo 1 in 4, Washington Heights in 5, and you've got Holly Doyle drawn in 3. She knows a little bit about winning down this 5 furlong stretch here, as she did on Bradsell on numerous occasions. Little bit of a lead early, Holly. That's all you need.
Finally, then, to get a win on the board, Starman has gone so close in 3 occasions already. this season, including, of course, early on in the season over track and trip. Right, start with you, Jason. The big betting handicap. I've seen the Bunbury Cup. This is the biggest of the John Smith's Cup. A brilliant handicap, 10 furlongs. Is it a pin job? Do you want a couple?
Well, the top of the market straight away. How much is archivist, however you want to pronounce it for the house here? How much of the market is that one going to take out? I'm not convinced that 1.25 miles is going to be ideal. That's going to be my question mark. So we'll see. And for that reason, I went diving in. I found one at a whopping price in here. Old Toon Loon for Dascombe and Pierre-Louis Jamin, as Chappers likes to call him. He could be not so much thrown in, but he ran massive at Chester, was arguably one of the unluckiest losers at the main meeting. He then came out and ran at the Royal meeting over 1.5 miles, and I don't think he stayed. Talk about taking your form to another level. He's proven himself a much better horse since he switched across to Tom Dascombe's stable. And you want everything in your favour. Where's he drawn? Right on the paint. He's going to be taking the shortest way round under quickest conditions. And I just had him down as he was sort of 50, 66 to 1, around that sort of price. I was thinking, yeah, we'll have a nice Hail Mary each way in the big one.
I expect nothing less. There we are. Big Hail Mary, nice price. Old Toon Lou with the extra places on offer as well. Frankie, where are we going for the John Smith's Cup?
Top weight, Thunder Run to back it up. It's a big ask, isn't it, carrying 9-12 in a very, very competitive field where plenty will be climbing the handicap. But he ran a big race here to win last time out. Carl Burke certainly knows what he's doing and thinks he's good enough to take his chance again. I'd be with him.
Okay, then, to give weight and a beating to everything else in the John Smith's Cup. We've got one more race to look forward to at York. It is the Silver Cup, kind of an Ebor trial. Al Kareem, how impressive was he? Has seen off Absurd recently with track and chip. Frankie, is either one, or is there something else that's just lurking that may have his measure?
I think so. Keep it simple. The Carl Burke quick fire double. I mean, he put 4.5 lengths between himself and Absurd. That's a top level performance at the track. I know that Table Talk has been having a good season, to be fair, with some impressive performances in defeat. But you know, a previous York winner in front of top level horses, I think he certainly is the one to beat anyway. He's the right favourite for me.
And no penalties, Jason. You with Al Kareem in agreement, or just something?
Well, we know how he runs, don't we? He's heart on the sleeve, out on the front end. They come and challenge him, and he goes again. But surely one of the new combinations who've got a ridiculous strike rate at the moment are PJ McDonald and Andrew Balding. Now, why haven't we seen subsequent? You know, Al Kareem's going to be very tough to beat, admittedly. I'll take a flyer that subsequent, who was definitely on the up when we last saw him. He won the Noel Merlis listed contest at Ascot when he was last out. They don't normally want from the fitness from the Balding team. And we've got a horse who's got a change of gear. Let Al Kareem get on with it. Let all the others challenge him. You want to be fast and late and try and get him with an absolute rush. Because if you go up and eyeball him, they go back to that herd animal. And I'm afraid he does not like to be passed.
Okay, subsequent then, yes, inform Andrew Balding as well. Well, let's switch back down south, down to Ascot then, because a couple of races to look forward to here. Starting with the Group 2 Summer Mile. I'll start with you this time, Frankie, because we've got 3 Royal Ascot winners in here. Hartum dropping down in trip, and then 2 absolute paint scrapers on the stand side in My Cloud. And your tip of the meeting, Never So Brave. Are you sticking with him?
Oh, it's fascinating this, isn't it? I mean, Never So Brave won as he liked, didn't he? My Cloud, although looked like it was tough for him to finally get there, to be fair, he won with a bit in hand because he had a fair bit to do actually as well, and obviously is a horse that has been rapidly improving now on a 4-time. And then Hartem, who is a dual Royal Ascot winner now, and I thought people were being a bit harsh to him for his price when he went off whatever it was, 8s for the Wolverton, was it? I'm not going to stick with Never So Brave. I'm going to go with Hartem. The other 2 are climbing the ranks in handicaps. Hartem's been winning sort of listed Group 3 level races. He's won over 7. He's won over 10. Now he's back to a mile. He's pretty tough. There's not much in it between any of them at the prices. It's bound to be a good race, but Hartem might just tough it out, in my opinion.
Okay, then Hartem then for Frankie. Obviously, James Doyle elsewhere, looking with the Watford team at Newmarket. Sean Levy comes in for the ride. What about you, Jason? Are you with him? Or are you one of these improving handicappers?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that when you go through my cloud, what was it, 95, he's gone up to 104, 105 for Never So Brave. The assessor said he was £10 in front of where he was, and he sits on 115, so comes out bang there on official ratings. I thought Prague didn't run too bad for Dylan Cunha, who had a double at Yarmouth earlier in the week. He was behind Quinault over 7 furlongs at York. Remember when he blasted off in front and never came back? That was a good return to action from him. They picked him up really cheap. You know the story, out of Aidan O'Brien's. And he's one that has absolutely slipped the net. I will go with Prague. You know what's going to happen, don't you? Also put up last time at a huge prize, Nostrum's going to go and run well, isn't he? There's 8 runners. Let's hope they all go. And he's the biggest price on the board. I'll have a sneaky pound each way on him to cover my corner as well. But he didn't produce at all, did he, at York?
He didn't, but you've done this already this week. You had a little sneaky cover on Zava here in the July Stakes, wasn't it? He won at a nice price, 18-1 for you, John Stott. So you've got history this week already with your cover bets. So you're with Prague.
Yeah, Prague would be the one. I thought it was a real good run. It's the first time since his debut effort for Dylan. You can forget about that because he was winning in handicap company. Now, it's his first true break. He was off 200 and whatever days it was. He now came back in. Good run behind Quinault, up in trip. Kieran Schumacher on board. It was last year, wasn't it? With Callum Shepherd on Kudwa, who reopposes in here, who'd been dropped off in the derby and everybody had their tissue out for him and everything else, didn't they? And then he came and won. Well, Kieran Schumacher, about time for him to step forward.
Yeah, a couple wins at Royal Ascot. And Royal Ascot's kind of been the theme throughout this show. Horses, it's that time, 3.5 weeks since Royal Ascot, where horses are coming back out. And that brings me to the finale, the 450, the 12th and final race we're going to look at this week. It's a nice, easy one. A 5 furlong sprint handicap. But one of the biggest eye catchers of the whole meeting that didn't win, Jason, was without doubt Holcomb Bay. Can Brandon Wilkie gain compensation in this finale?
Well, I was listening to William Knight talk about this lad, and he was saying, we all know how unlucky he was at the Royal meeting. He's probably, from a mark of 98, there's a bit of wriggle room. You'd be thinking here, he'd be going Stewards Cup, I would imagine. He seems equally effective, 5 and 6 furlongs. He's got to be the answer in here, hasn't he? You're scratching around thinking, can something like Stormy Impact improve? Existent always places down the bottom. Al Zahir has gone through the grades and now is perched on 98. Got to be Holcomb Bay, hasn't it? Very short again, but a couple of the handicaps, a bit like More Thunder, he's obvious.
There we are. Then, yeah, he's looked obvious in the Royal Ascot, very unlucky. Frankie?
I was going to say, yeah, the sort of redemption double, More Thunder and Holcomb Bay. That wouldn't be the worst bet in the world, would it? They were both brutally unlucky and they both get another chance in what theoretically is an easier race to win off similar marks. So provided they don't have any hard luck stories, you'd think they'd be the most likely winners. I don't mind Existent, who Jace actually mentioned as well, just will carry no weight at all with us. They're taking off 7 and has been second, third, runs his races, hasn't been managing to win, but again, an each way stab that you might get a bit of luck with.
Proper place, but also Existent, just struggles to get his head in front. Right, brilliant, boys. Hopefully we've had a few winners between them there. We've been on a decent run of form of a late U-pair. Right, let's get the best bets then. You've got 12 races to choose from. Jason, what's the strongest?
Well, if you nailed me down and said you can have one bet, I think that Miss Nightfall, Safi Osborne, James Fanshawe, unlucky the last twice. We know how patient Fanshawe is, so she's bound to have a little bit of wriggle room from a mark of 90 that could see her improve and go and get the job done. So Miss Nightfall, as I said, we mentioned the John Smiths. I'll definitely be having a pound each way on Old Toon Loon at 66s because he's drawn right down on the paint. I like that angle, just everything in his favour.
Out of the park. Fingers crossed.
You were saying, Matt, we had a few winners. I was thinking back to what happened last weekend. How about Classic finally winning?
Mate, didn't just win, absolutely hammered in.
I know. Where's that been for the last 3 years?
I know, yeah.
And
They're still in the minors from backing him for the last 4 out of 5 times. But
and Delacroix as well, who we thought would make all, and took the go from the front, and then did it plan X as well. So classic. Yeah, fair play getting that one home. Come on, man.
It's one of those sort of weekends. As I'm looking what we've gone through, Matt. There's all sorts of 3-to-1 shots towards the top of the market. More, we talk about both misses, the more Thunders, the Washington Heights. There's a lot sort of knocking about. So I'm going to just have a crack in the July Cup. I think with Whistle Jacket, yeah. Best bet. I can't remember what he's called. I think I ran a big race. I mean, he has here before, and Super Ryan Moore to get him home.
Brilliant. Right. Thank you very much. Super Saturday then is upon us. The July Cup is the feature. A brilliant renewal due off at Newmarket at 4:35 on Saturday afternoon. Don't forget to like and subscribe this channel, and you can see plenty more of shows like this. Looking forward very much to a brilliant 12 races. Jason, pray for me and Frankie for our Ibiza Classics evening on Friday night.
The boys dancing tonight. Go, lads.
Yeah, whistles and glow sticks are plenty. Have a great weekend. Enjoy Super Saturday.